Welcome to Hot Springs Village Inside Out, a weekly podcast where Hot Springs Village, Arkansas is the star. Join me, Randy Cantrell, and my co-host Dennis Simpson as we discuss the history, facts, people, places, events, lots more surrounding Hot Springs Village, Arkansas. Visit the website at hotspringsvillageinside.out.com. It's Thanksgiving week. It's already here. It's November 2021.
Amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. And here's the great thing. This is how the future works. This is this time machine that we have called the podcast. Hey, I'm Randy Cantrell. He is Dennis Simpson, by the way. And by the time that you're listening to this, I can say that. I will be in Hot Springs Village. Well, I don't know. I might have already been there and gone by the time you listen to this. But it's Thanksgiving week, and I plan on spending Thanksgiving week inside the village. Why not? Favorite time of year, favorite place. So why not? Have you been?
It's stinking beautiful here today. It's a little cooler. I say that as we hit the record button, as my friend says. It is the 16th of November. Today and tomorrow and yesterday are all going to be in the mid 70s. It is beautiful.
People will be listening to this, by the way, on the 23rd. So probably so.
And it's going to be cold after that because we've got a front coming through, and it's going to get a lot cooler real quick. But that's part of Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
When
trees
people
are
ask
turning finally.
Yeah, they are. And I'll tell you what, they've literally turned in just the last 3 to 5 days. If you want, plug.
Yeah, let's hear it.
The fine folks at KTHV, which is Channel 11, the CBS affiliate here in Little Rock, contacted me and asked if they could use the weather cam, which is actually a lake cam, at D&D Village Property. So if you want to check out the fall colors, they're right in front of the camera. Go to D&D Village Property, click on the live lake view camera, and you'll see it just like all of Arkansas does when they refer to it. That they're taking it, I think they're using it on the morning show and on the evening show. And they were like, which direction does it face? And I'm thinking, if you really want a weather cam, I may need to cut down a tree or two or cut some branches at least. So
yeah, and you can just, if you go to hsvinsideout.com, click on that hosts and go down to Dennis's bio, and there's a link there to this. I will be there as well.
I will be there. There's a link to the
camera. Okay. Give me the call letters. I should know this, but I don't. So all the call letters?
KTHV. Now, this ties into Hot Springs a whole lot more than you know.
Let's hear it.
Because the Arlington used to have, you and I are familiar with channels and just radio channels, right?
Yep.
Back in the early days of broadcasting, across the top of the Twin Peaks of the Arlington Hotel in 1924, they strung a wire. And they had a license to broadcast certain times of the day, because when they broadcast on all frequencies. It was just like this megaphone, right?
Yep.
And the call letters
it only went so far.
Sure. It just went a few miles. But the call letters of the Arlington Hotel were KTHS, which stood for come to Hot Springs. Well, that was KTHS radio. And then when they formed the television station, they picked those call letters up and took them to Little Rock and turned it into KTHV, come to video. S instead of Hot Springs, it came to video. So KTHV has been the CBS affiliate for the last 70 years or something like that. And they got their start right on top of the Arlington Hotel, just down the street from the Malco. So, yeah.
Okay.
More history.
So this link to your lake cam is,
well, what they're going to go to it during the live broadcast, so they can show what it looks like live, real time, that kind of stuff. Here's the weather in Hot Springs Village.
How did they find out about this, by the way?
The guy said he was surfing the web and he came across it and said, man, this is a beautiful camera. And it's, because I'm a techie, it's an RTSV. It's a particular type of feed, just like a podcast feed or whatever. And that particular feed you can use anywhere. And he said, can we just rip off the feed? Just take a direct stream off the feed? I'm like, sure. Well, that's what it's for. Yeah, sure. So, I mean, it's exactly formatted for what they need. I was thinking like AccuWeather or somebody like that would pick it up, and I had tried to do that before, and nobody really jumped on it. So anyway, I'm eager to see these guys. one of the big three in the city, picking them up. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we've
And
got links at our website, to people that are interested in what the weather's like in the village, as well as a 10-day forecast. But man, if you want to see it in real time, yeah, you need to go hit that up and see
well,
that.
they also, just for what it's worth, they were asking, said, do you have any great places to shoot video? We have a drone pilot. And I'm like, have you been to Lake Lago? No, where's that? Hang on. Oh, yeah. I said,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
So I sent him about 4 or 5 spots to go shoot some drone footage from, which,
Yeah.
over the top.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, this week we're talking about Thanksgiving.
Yep.
My favorite time of the year. Randy, yours?
Yeah, it's yeah. It's if it's not the one, it is the one. It is the one. You go first. Why is it your favorite?
There's no expectations. Nobody didn't get what they wanted for Thanksgiving. Nobody got the wrong present for Thanksgiving.
Uh-huh.
Thanksgiving is like Christmas without all the pressure, and it's I just love it. I love the time to be able to get together, and I particularly like the point that it's about the time, at least for my work, and I hope for a lot of people, it's beginning to slow down a little, and it's not just so absolutely crazy, and we can look around and go, "Wow, this is nice." We've got a pretty good gig here. In the village, that's easier to do than some. I know that, but and then we were joking the other day. I'm glad we're doing this show in advance. Just typically about the time that Thanksgiving comes, like the day after or something like that, I'm like, well, yeah, I'm ready for Thanksgiving, because I'm always behind the seasons. Everybody's got Easter egg bunnies and eggs, and I'm like, is it time for Easter already? Yeah. I seem to be typically behind all of the holidays.
Why is that? Does it just sneak up on you, or what's that?
I think that's what it is. I think my head's to the grindstone. The last few days that we got back from vacation, and this is typically what it is for me and Diane. It's crazy up until October the 15th. Then we go and do something, and then that's kind of crazy because we've got it jam packed. But when we come back, there's this big decompression time because it's really slow at her work. Mine typically slows down a little this time of year, and then she gets to do continuing ed. So she's got to put in 40 hours of CPE. So later this week, I get to be with my lovely bride and have her typically over here in the Arkansas room watching a CPE course. And I'll hit the occasional button like I'm in the room and I see it too, because you got to, act like you're there. But I think Thanksgiving's my favorite because you just get to be around and sit around with people and
describe what Thanksgiving was growing up.
Thanksgiving was going to my grandmother's house, Momo, as everybody called her, in the East End of Little Rock, actually in Hensley. And it was the world's best mashed potatoes and the world's best dressing based on any criteria. Because, then you grow up later and you have other people, dressing and go, ugh, really? Is it like this? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a preference thing, of course.
Sure.
But everybody in the world knew my Momo. Everybody knew. She had either babysat or whatever. And she had a story a little bit like Greg's, that her husband died. He was a carpenter. My grandfather died. He was probably 47 or 49.
Young.
Massive heart attack, died. She had never worked, had never driven, had to get a job, became an RN. An LPN at the time.
Yeah.
And she would arrange rides so she could go in to work at the Baptist and got a job doing that. And just a truly beloved woman, an incredibly beloved woman. What was Thanksgiving? I'm sorry.
Well, the house, keep going though. So there's how many people descend on her home Thanksgiving? I mean, give us kind of a rough idea.
Close to 20 every time.
Okay,
and it's an older frame home with asbestos shingles outside. It's
well, they all were.
Yeah, exactly. But it was a magical place. It was a really low stress, a lot of fun. And it was one of those deals where, for the most part, it's wonderful to have friends and family that are friends and not just family. There are some people you feel compelled to be family with.
Yeah.
And there's other people that you would be friends with, even if you weren't.
Yeah, it helps if you like each other. That goes a long way.
And your end of the world, what was yours like?
Similar. My maternal grandmother, we would descend on her house, and it would. The head count might not be 20, but yeah, a lot of us, and of course, enough food to feed an army.
Twice over,
usual, and everything, as I'm sure it was at your grandmother's house. Everything made from scratch and stuff that came out of gardens, and certainly was not what I was always accustomed to. I'll put it that way, but it was the way they lived.
And everybody was welcome. We had a stranger or a guest every year, somebody I didn't know.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
I can't imagine. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I can't imagine spending Thanksgiving alone. I can't see that. And so we would always have somebody that was going to be alone. So we would invite them. And,
interesting. Well, that's a good tradition.
Yeah.
That's a good tradition. We, I would say, it was our family, which makes us, compared to you guys now, we sound like just a completely ungracious sort of people. No. Not inviting people from the byways and highways, to come in, but just good. Quail hunting as a little boy,
Wow.
the morning of would be, and we're talking small town, rural Oklahoma. Quail hunting was a big deal. My dad still loves, watching bird dogs work.
Yeah.
He didn't care.
That's amazing.
He didn't care so much about the hunting as he did watching the dogs work,
Let me get this straight. You like watching people play golf, but you don't play golf.
Yeah.
And your dad liked watching the dogs work, but he didn't hunt.
Yeah, exactly. There's something. Well, he hunted, but he didn't care nearly as much about that as he did just watching the dogs work and stuff. So I guess I come from a great line of spectators. I guess that's the message. That's the message there. So now, and Thanksgiving.
And with that, good night. No.
Yeah, exactly. And so Thanksgiving these days looks like what?
Oh, well, it's always the shuffle between different houses. We'll go to my mom's and arrange with Tammy and David, my sister and brother-in-law. Man, didn't know it was going to be an emotional episode. I figured it might be a little, but geez.
Well, that's what this is, though. That's what this does, right? Yeah. It conjures up all these memories and all these things that, what you tell me what you're feeling. Thankful? Gratitude?
Overwhelmingly thankful.
Well, there you go. That's the whole point, right?
It is. And
that's the name of the holiday. So that's
you'd think I'd be able to say it sober and without having to cry or whatever. But no, I just
surrounded by all these people that you care an awful lot about.
Exactly. And in 1976,
okay,
a guy pulled up in our driveway and he had you'll like this. He had a 72. What was it? It was a 72 Chevy. Wasn't the 442? It was the
Chevelle.
Chevelle. It was a Chevelle.
Chevelle. Yeah.
Big wide mags on the back. Beautiful big tires.
Stud car.
Blue with the white stripe, the racing stripe. And he got out of the car. I said
396 was probably
the 396, but it's actually a 402, but they named it a 396 for insurance reasons. Yep. We're not gearheading out here or anything, but we do know these.
Yeah. So he got up.
Kind of a curly headed guy, got out of the car, nice guy. And I said, "Hey, Dane." And the first words my future brother-in-law said to me were, "I'm not Dane. My name's David." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Well, he said, "Dane saw my car and copied it, but I'm not Dane. I'm David." I'm like, "Okay, well, kind of pissy about your car, huh?" Yeah, okay. Anyway, from that day on,
I have no. So wait, what?
Yeah.
So was it him or was it not him?
No, it wasn't Dane. It was David, and I'd never met David.
Okay, well that makes sense. I get it.
Yeah, I'd never met David.
Okay,
but David originally had this car. And the Dane saw it and made a knockoff of it. Kind of pissed David off, But how would I know? Only car I'd ever seen, Dane was driving.
Okay, I got you.
So
That's funny.
Insert marriage story and happy family and all that. And this is the guy that has effectively been my brother for the last 45 years, whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
A fantastic brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, that's awesome.
We usually end up we go to their house, or they.
So you're gonna hit how many houses? Which means how many meals are you gonna have to eat?
Probably mom and dad's and Tammy and David's, which they live right beside each other, so it's one house.
Okay.
And then from there we'll go to Diane's sister's house in Donaldson, and fun people, a lot of fun people, just good folks.
So y'all get to make the rounds.
We do, and you know what? I think part of the deal is I hadn't thought about this, Randy, until we just thought about it. Funny people with a good sense of humor, you know?
Well, that makes them more likable to be around.
Yeah, it really does. It really does.
So y'all don't have a bunch of drama or anything? Handguns getting drawn and bottles broken over heads?
No. You're thinking about the good old days.
Yeah.
Apparently, when Diane was married to another gentleman earlier on, that occasionally happened, but it's no drama Denny, I guess.
Yeah,
I should bring more fun and drama, I guess.
No. Save the drama for your mama. That's as the saying
So
goes.
tell me this: how many houses do you end up visiting? I know y'all are coming here.
We don't. This is the great thing. So we have lived here in the DFW area for decades. Rhonda's a Fort Worth girl. Prior to this, I just felt like a nomad. Had not lived anywhere too terribly long. Lived in Oklahoma City for 9 years, far and away the longest I'd lived anywhere prior to coming to here. Yeah. So came here, we're 64. We came here when we were 32. And so we've been here that long. It was coming home for her. Kids here, they grow up, they have kids, the grandkids are here. And so we had this dynamic of, well, okay, now the in-laws don't live here. Well, we live here. Right. So, okay, so the in-laws got the holidays. We didn't care. We were like, we got them all the time.
You got all the other days.
Yeah, we'll give you all the holidays. So we have never in not much really in our adult life had it as kind of a family, that traditional family gathering. And sometimes people will go, oh, well, that's no, it's not sad at all, because we're around each other a lot, which we're thankful for. We're happy that they can go. And I'm also happy that I can get the text messages of all the whining and complaining about, the internet here is absolutely terrible, and we haven't had sleep in 3 days. And, Rhonda and I would kid people, my mother and my grandmother, the homemade dressing and the whole 9 yards, and my dad with the big, the drumstick thing. I grew up with all that. I didn't replicate any of that. So here we are in Texas, right? And so it became kind of a Mexican feast day for us, Mexican food feast, so it's really? Like, it's a good day for tacos. It's a really good day for enchiladas, and that kind of stuff. So no, it's me and Rhonda, and I'm just pretty thankful for that, to tell you the truth. I'm glad for the great memories that I've got. We were in the village last year, staying with a perfectly nice older couple, and they had friends over from down the street who came over, and they played games and stuff. And so she texted me. She said, "Can I bring you guys a plate?" You could tell this poor woman just felt sorry for this. I've got this couple and here it is, Thanksgiving, she couldn't have been nicer, she brought, I'm like, no, trust me, it is not necessary. But it is an indicator, I think, of how most of us operate, right? On a holiday like that, where you've got these Airbnb guests, staying downstairs, and she and her husband came down. They were very gracious and very kind. And I said, yeah, listen, I'll happily take it. And this was during COVID. So she was
oh, that's right.
She was even more reserved about it. And I said, no, I'm flattered. Thank you. And it was all very, very gracious, but I like the spirit of it. I like the intent of it. You're right. The expectation. I catch myself telling myself this every day and usually telling somebody else. I had a text with a young lady from church today, who's going through some challenges. And I say this all the time, and I'm mostly preaching to myself. I said, the best advice I can give you is lean hard into gratitude. Focus on what you've got. Don't focus on what you don't have. We can all do that. So there's that.
Well, I have a story that I thought about sharing that I share about this time every year. Man, this will be the tough one. I was helping out at Rock Creek. I was a singer at Rock Creek Church in Little Rock, and this has been 12, 13 years ago. And they wanted me to do hay rides. So we were having hay rides around the building. It's a huge church. It's a mega church, and runs 5,000 to 8,000 people a week, and wonderful staff. And they asked me to just hop on you've got a big voice, hop on the hay rides and do what?
No,
what?
You don't have a big.
Yeah, I know. Who knew? Right? Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So we're singing, Grandma got run over by the reindeer, and silly songs and whatever. And right. So I'm asking all the kids on the hayride. I said, what do you want? You want the G.I. Joe with the kung fu grip, and joking. Well, I want this, and I want the Pokemon, and I want the da 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 da. There's this kid sitting there. He's probably 12 or 13. Seemed like a good kid. Yeah. I said, what do you want for Christmas? He said, I'm good.
Yeah.
This will be one of the toughest stories I ever tell. And I said, okay, nothing in particular you want or anything? He said, no. He said, I'm good. And it took me about 35 seconds to 45 seconds because it's dark and we're on a hayride and we're going around the church in the parking lot, right? And I look at this kid and it dawned on me that his mother was at the ICU at Baptist right then with stomach cancer. And she wasn't coming home.
Yeah.
And we all knew that. His father was and is one of the ministers at Rock Creek. But his mother wasn't coming home. So every year about this time, when we talk about Thanksgiving, I tell the story about how I'm good.
Yeah.
What do you need? What do you need? What do you want for Christmas? What's your heart desire?
Yeah, when you're a 13-year-old facing that's even more profound.
Yeah. He was and still is. He's an exceptional kid. And he wasn't making anything up, and he didn't complain and tell you it was about his mom or whatever. He just simply said, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, so, well, I'm good. I'm good too. I'm good too. We often pray at church. You'll hear, and I say it myself in prayers. Thanking the Lord that all is as well with us as it is. And I don't know where that phrase first came up, and if people have heard something like that, but it's and even for a self-proclaimed wordsmith like myself, I mean, I don't know how to say it any better. I'm just. Listen, things can always be better. Of course they can be better. And our lives are built on hope that tomorrow will be better and that we're going to try to do our best to contribute, hopefully, to making it better. But however bad today is, or it seems to be, there's still a whole lot to be thankful for, that it is all as well with us as it is.
Well, the problem is, Randy, is that, many times we're looking down. And we look at today, and today's all there is. Well, this has been 13, 14 years. This is a young man who's gotten married. His father's remarried. Nobody loves their mother any less. She's just not here.
Right.
And they've made the very best of every situation they could. It's just at that day and at that time to be able to say, I'm good. I don't need anything. Wow. So when people ask about Thanksgiving or about Christmas, I always hope to say, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need anything else. So
Yeah, well, here. Amen to that. And we're, I don't know, we could do the typical, I won't, but we could do the typical laundry list of all the things that we're thankful for in this show. I mean, MP3s are, these are not big files, but man, live, we could record for hours and hours just mentioning all the things that we've got to be thankful for. I would hope that people in our audience, I would hope that you're in a similar position. I know that there are people. We've got a really terrific group. If you're not inside our Facebook group, then let me invite you to join it. Just go to hsvinsideout.com and click that Facebook icon. It's a public group, and we'll let you in. But I know that there are people on there that are looking for work. There are people that are on fixed and limited incomes and wondering what tomorrow is going to look like. For them, the uncertainty of the economy and the supply chain issues. And it seems to me that every all times of life are perilous. None of us are going to get out. I told my parents the other day on the phone, none of us are getting out of this alive anyway. So we all just kind of chuckle. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I do know why we fixate on what we lack, because it's just kind of the way our culture works, with all the Instagram moments and all the consumerism and all the stuff. But I keep reminding myself, at your funeral, nobody's going to talk about your real estate holdings. They're not going to talk about the vacations that you took or that you didn't, or the cars that you have. It really is going to be more about the people that you made an impact on, the people that loved you, the people that you loved. So there's that.
One of my favorite, there is one of my favorite phrases in that, Randy, is comparison is the thief of joy. Yeah, if you want to be miserable, I'm sorry.
No question. That's true.
Yeah. If you want to be miserable, just compare yourself to somebody else that you think has it better or has it different or whatever. There was always needs. There's never a question. There's always needs. But I'll be very frank, and you're right. We don't have the time or the breath to remunerate all our thankful things. But I will tell you this to our listeners. I will personally, this Thanksgiving, I will remunerate as many as I can, simply because there's a top layer where you go, well, thanks for my health, and thanks for this, and thanks for that. But there's a second level, and then there's the ground level. Really, I literally have my breath for this day. I get to work with you, Randy. Seriously. It goes on and on. It goes on and on. And who knew I would be a blethering idiot the entire time, huh? Yeah.
No, well, it absolutely does. And I think that's, I don't know, that may be as good a place to end as any is, in the midst of all the gratitude of, I don't know, the excitement's the wrong word, but maybe the risk or the adventure. And let's stay with risk. Let's stay with risk.
Yeah.
The risk of people, for a guy that does coaching and gets really personal with people, and it's not therapy, but it is therapeutic. I can't tell you how many times clients are mostly served not by me or what I do, but by their own willingness to just open up, their own willingness to just be vulnerable. And we started this podcast, and both of us, we just chose to do that. We chose to be open with each other. We chose to be super honest and forthcoming with each other. We've chosen to do that in this podcast. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that I took a chance on an idea and took a chance on a co-host. And I'm thankful that the audience has taken a chance, because there's nothing that you have other than your soul that is more valuable than your time and attention. And to give us a chunk of that every week, as many of you do, is a big, big thing. As we hit the record button today, now let's tack 7 days onto this. So we'll be 170. When you're listening to this, if you listen to this the day that it was released, then our little podcast is 175 days old.
Not yet 6 months.
No. So I'm thankful for that. And
I'll tell you what, I'm really thankful for more than anything, Randy. We would do this if it wasn't as phenomenally successful. And I do use phenomenally successful. We've really, really, really got some traction. And it's you, the listener. It's you, the watcher. And look, I know every week is not just compelling, interesting information, but it's real. And I can't get more real. I don't think Randy can get more real. This is what we do. This is who we are, warts and all. And man, we really appreciate you guys listening. We appreciate your feedback. We appreciate the phenomenal listenership and just, I guess, devotion might be the word, or dedication to it, because it's something we love to do, and we love the fact that you like listening to it. So thank you more than anything. Anything else, Randy?
I got nothing. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Hope everybody is safe and happy, and you're surrounded by the people that you love, and tell them so.
Exactly.
Tell them so.
For Hot Springs Village Inside Out, I'm Dennis Simpson, and he is
Randy Cantrell.
And good night.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Hot Springs Village Inside Out, a podcast where Hot Springs Village, Arkansas is the star. Please subscribe to the podcast. You can do that by visiting our website, hsvinsideout.com, and tell a friend.